think with me for a time. This is a video response on with Loyal to Laws video on the idea of what training is best for you and figuring out what you need to train in. I'm going to open this with a few ground rules. 1. A rock can never be a bird. So too, a bird can never be a rock. Okay? The next thing that I'm going to add is imagine that it's a SHTF type situation. And you are encamped, and you have a certain amount of people in your camp, let's say 12 people. And you have been designated the armorer. So it is your job to maintain the weapons, to allocate them to various people, and to weigh each person's strengths and weaknesses and match them with the weapon that's best for them. To simplify this, let's say that you only have 2 weapons, 22 rifles and 12 gauge shotguns. Okay? In this analogy, the shotgun would obviously be the rock, whereas the 22 would be the bird. Okay? Further, to show you, let's look at the size difference. 22, 12 gauge. Okay? 12 gauge slug, 22. Alright? Okay. So, with that, now we need to understand what's getting into place. Stay tuned. Okay. So let's look at the 12 gauge. The 12 gauges that you have 7 in the magazine too, 1 in the chamber. The 12 gauges that you have are equipped with a sling, cylinder choke in the barrel, 20-inch barrel, with a side saddle that has 6 rounds here and 5 rounds there. They're also equipped with a tack-like recoil reducing stock. Basically what that does is that takes the recoil of a slug down to about the same as that of a birdshot round. Okay? So the trick is that with all this stuff on it, this makes this shotgun weigh around 11 pounds carry weight. Okay? Exhibit B is the Ruger 10/22 rifle. It has a folding collapsible stock. It has a foregrip, reverse grip, and it's semi-automatic. And you have 25 round magazines for it. It has a sling. Its carry weight is right around 6 pounds. In fact, in this configuration, it'd probably be about 5. Okay? So, the question then, and each one of them with iron sights, for those who have a reasonable ability, are accurate to at least a dinner plate at 100 yards with reasonable training. How do I know that? Because I can hit a saucer at 100 yards with either of them. I'm shooting 4-inch groups with iron sights with my shotgun, and I'm shooting about 3 to 4-inch groups and comparable with the rifle. So either one, I'm equally accurate with. Also understand that against human targets, with that level of accuracy, they're roughly about the same lethality. Okay. Of course, the 22 is going to have a little less stopping power, but you can get multiple hits, which will take your opponent down, especially if you go for headshots. With the 12 gauge, you shoot them in the arm to go by the arm. So, there's your differences. Alright. So let's think about this. Let's say in your camp you have 5 guys or 5 people that are smaller. Let's say they're less than 200 pounds each. And then you have 5 guys that are over 200 pounds. Okay? Now here's your question. Who do you give what weapon to? The guys that are less than 200, they're going to be the guys that are going to be doing things like moving around, running. They're going to be doing a lot of the recon, climbing trees, whatever. Okay? So would you not want them to have a lighter weapon? A lighter, reliable rifle? In that case, you would hand them the 10-22 because that fits with their abilities. Okay? The guys that are above 200 pounds, you would want to give them the shotgun, right? Because that fits with their abilities. Okay? See the difference here? So, the illustration then is really that simple. You see, because if you take a bigger guy like me, or in my case, let's talk about me right now. If I am running on a low protein diet, I'm lethargic, I'm grumpy, you kind of want to keep me at arm's distance, so I'm going to have a short fuse. On the other hand, you give me a high protein diet, I'm happy. I'm stronger, I'm happy. See the difference? A smaller guy, you give them a high protein diet, it might slow them down, it might make them sluggish. Whereas if you give them a lower protein diet, less meat, more veggies, rice, then they speed up, they get faster. See the difference? So I think that kind of covers diet. The trick is to find the correct combination of exercise, diet, and training to be what you need them to be. You need also to figure out what are your strong suits. What are my strong suits as a self-defense guy? What are my strong suits? My strong suits are my intelligence, my cunning, okay? Because I'm always going to do something that's going to trip up my opponent. I'm going to always outthink him. It's my job to think past what he's going to do. Because I don't have this endurance factor that a lot of people have. I don't, that some people have. I can't run 5 miles without stopping. Never could. Okay? I've never had that. Once again, a rock cannot be a bird, just as a bird cannot be a rock. Okay? On the other hand, if I do a throw, or I throw my opponent in a move like Soto Makakomi, where I throw them and then I land on top of them, it will hurt them badly. Whereas if a person who is 100 pounds tries that same throw, I'm not saying that it won't hurt, but it will not hurt as much. See the difference here? Okay? I'm the guy that you get to move your couch. I'm the guy that you get to move your icebox, your TV, right? Drag the deer out of the woods and field dress it. I'm the guy for that. I'm not the guy that you send up to the TV antenna just to move the dish. Okay? I can't do that. I walk up to a tree like I'm going to climb it. I put my hand up on the branch, it starts to move. Nah, and then I walk away. A smaller guy will walk up to that tree, be like, okay, and he's up there. I'm not saying that I couldn't climb the tree. What I'm saying is that there's differences. It would take me a lot more energy to get up to the top of that tree than it would a smaller person. Which are you? Are you the bear or are you the cat? Both good. It's like the 22 versus the shotgun. Both lethal. Both can be easily used. What do you choose? So too, what do you choose for your training? And here recently I've been training as much as I can in Kali and in the South Asian area arts like the Indonesian arts, Kali, Salat, etc., etc. Because I like them. Because I like the way the movements are. But I also realize that if I can't take those movements and incorporate them into my own art and into my own way, it's useless. Okay? See, when I came up with my way of defending and my self-defense system, I took bits and pieces from everything. This is not unlike what you have to do. Even if I give you my entire system, parts of it will work for you, parts of it may not. Because it's designed to work for me, not you. You have to find your system that works for you. That's your job. And that does make it more difficult, but on the other hand, it also makes it more rewarding. And here's why I say that. Because when you do find that system that works best for you, that's when you find your center, I guess. And that is the most important part. So, make the things work for you. Research always, learn always. And in researching always and learning always, you find which ones work best for you. And that's what it's all about. See, the difference and what I think is one of the teachings that's been lost through the internet and this type of training is one of the fundamental trainings that I learned, and it's this. When my instructor taught me judo, okay, I learned his judo. No one else's. His judo. He learned his judo from Sato, who was in the Kodokan when he was stationed in Japan. Okay? So he learned his from Sato in the Kodokan. And then I learned his judo. Right? Because his judo was different, because his judo was merely a reflection of Sato's judo. And Sato's judo was merely a reflection of his instructor's judo. And so on and so forth until you hit kama. Okay? So, then when my instructor started teaching me his judo, I learned his judo. And then I started making his judo work for me. So that now my judo is different from his judo. from my instructor's judo, which is altogether different from Sato's judo, which is altogether different from his instructor. See how it changes? The techniques are the same, but the ways it's set up, which technique I use for which situation, whether when that technique comes or when that punch comes, do I block and strike, or do I go with it? Okay? Do I pull? Do I block, pull, grab, throw? Or do I block and strike? That's the difference. Some instructors and some people feel it's best to throw. Others feel that it's best to throw the punch. It all depends on what you feel is best. What works best for you? What do you know? That is what's important. What works for me most likely will not work for you. That is why my way is my way, not your way. Your way is your way, not my way. See the difference? I can only teach you my way. It is up to you to grab onto what I teach from my way, and for you to use that into your way. That's what it's about. And the same goes with any other martial arts instructor or any other self-defense instructor. Because I cannot tell you what works for you all the time. After all, we are only connected by wires. If I were in front of you, teaching you, yes, I could gauge what is best for you. And I will alter and change my teaching style to what works best for you. When I teach small people, not small people, but, smaller people, their judo is different. Their jiu-jitsu is different. Their way of self-defense is different. When I'm teaching big people, alright, their way is different. Their art is different. Because they have different abilities. They also have different weaknesses. When I teach men, I teach one way. Because their way is different. When I teach women, their way is different. Why? Men have strength up here. Women have strength down here. Okay? Use what is there. Do not make a bird into a rock. Do not make a rock into a bird. Will not work. This is how you teach. This is how you learn. This is how you train. I thank you for your time.